I thought today we would go over actually the third of my physical onset adult experiences. This one is different in that I didn't actually so much see the ship, and then also it's the first time I was kind of similar to something that would be called experimented on, I guess. That type of a situation anyway. So we'll just go over it and see if I can actually describe this in a way that makes sense. Salutations. Salutations, greetings. I wanted to go over actually the third adult onset experience I had that involved about 4.5 hours of missing time. Alright, this is the first experience that I had that would be quote unquote, I had a kind of a type of experimentation done on me to a certain degree, although it was not negative or anything. Most of my experiences have not been like that. Alright, something different about this is that I didn't actually see the ship very much from the outside, so I can't tell you what it looked like on the outside. Alright, going back to the experience itself and how that happened. Alright, I was with my ex at the time actually, and we're in her backyard, alright, on her trampoline, and we're looking up at the sky, quote unquote sky watching, getting a meditation on, alright, trying to do a Kundalini exercise actually. And it was a good meditation, but during this, a cloud starts coming up from over the side of the backyard, okay, over the trees, a small cloud. It comes over and it starts coming over the trampoline and it's rotating in a counterclockwise fashion, I do believe. Okay, it's like a spiral cloud. And during this time we can see a couple of, like, you could say they almost look like satellites, like little lights coming out of this thing, okay? Now during this, I gotta be absolutely honest with you, alright? At that time I was much younger. I was involved in a lot of true orgone research. I was making real cloud busters that were based on the Casimir effect, alright? Totally different than a lot of things you see right now concerning orgone technology. But I thought due to that I was busting clouds. I had an understanding of bion technology and orgone energy, alright? I thought due to that and my great skill, I must have been attracting this cloud and somehow manipulating it with my psionic powers, okay? So that's what I had thought at first until I started hearing her going, she's going like that as she's watching this cloud, alright? The cloud rescinds where it came from. We kind of seem like there's a lot of energy in the sky, and I start kind of reaching up, touching it a little bit, and she starts crying, saying it's one of the most spiritual experiences of her life. And I'm thinking, you know, how can you think that after the other things that have happened? But we get off her trampoline, alright, and there is, the trampoline is wet, the ground is wet everywhere, it's soaked as a matter of fact, so it has rained, but her and I are bone dry. And then we go inside and check the time, the sun's starting to come up, it's been 4 hours, okay? Missing time just as I described it there. That tripped me out. I couldn't figure out why, so I started thinking more, meditating, trying to self-hypnotize myself, because when I start thinking about this missing time, I can see something. I can see some beings, and I can see some technology to me that looks like a weather station. It looks like a weather station, but that's all I can see is fragments of this. I can't isolate it. So I had to go for a regression, something that people don't seem to want to do now. But that's so I could know what exactly did my subconscious record physically during this time. And what it was is the picture you just saw, okay? I never saw this ship from the outside, but I can describe to you what it's like on the inside, alright? So we're kind of going to go from that and exactly who these beings are and what was done to me and what this experience actually was. So it's a little bit different in that way. I'm sorry I can't show you the outside of the ship. I can only tell you that coming in out of this cloud, it looked, the ones I saw looked like almost satellites. I mean, they just looked like nothing that you could say exactly what it looked like, if it was a saucer or what it was. But I can tell you this particular room I was in on there. So let's go over the picture itself and digest it. Chop it up, like we used to say. Greetings. Alright, I call this illustration the BIOBED DNA reconfiguration. What we have here, okay, when I open up my eyes, I was in this room, okay? And what I have is these beings, and let me describe who these beings are, alright? First, we have Mana, that you have seen before on another ship. 2 others, actually, alright? This is Mana. Mana was very tall for this room. She's about, I'd say 8 feet tall, maybe just a little over 8 feet tall. She was right towards the ceiling, alright? The other being you have are these little blue guys. Now notice that Christine Dennett Casara did this artwork for me. She changed, and these are Andromedan Council members, alright? She changed it a little bit that's more accurate. One, they don't have mouths here that makes them look kind of kitty-like. And number 2, she got the suit right. They had these white stripes going on these blue suits. They're actually kind of almost light blue stripes. There's some type of fiber optics, okay? They were all holding these devices that have these crystals on the end of them, odd-shaped crystals with some type of like writing on them, and what looks like fiber optic lights coming out of them, moving fiber optics. All right, and that was the devices they were holding. But anyway, I wanted to say that. And these guys were little, okay? What they asked me with this, okay, oh sorry, this being here, this is another Andromedan Council member. But I was told that the brown ones like this that are slightly taller are more medical. Okay, more medical there. And I didn't get a lot more information about that, but felt kind of masculine a little bit, maybe androgynous, but they just kind of stood there. Okay, anyway, when I get to this room, when I'm in this room, they asked me to lay down on this bed. I call this the BIOBED. Now, what's interesting about this is when you actually saw this, it appeared to be like sapphire, rubies, and maybe diamonds or something, all fused together, okay? But the way they were fused together, they still had these jagged edges on them. You can kind of see how she illustrated that there. So at first, they're telepathically asking me to lay down on there, and I'm like, well, no, it's going to hurt. It could cut my back or something. And they're saying, no, it won't. So I laid down on it. Now, mind you, that this thing was really big. This bed was huge. I mean, somebody 4 times my size could have laid on it, all right? Both in vertically and in lengthwise. It was very big. It also moved, I say around here in the middle. It would move up and down a little bit. But what you see here is a light, okay? There was like a golden light that would go up and down this thing. And it's going down my back, down my legs. And it's got kind of a warm feeling to it. Not burning, just kind of warm. And it's not hurting. They're not ever touching me. These things are just moving around me. And so I start telepathically asking them, are you copying me? I mean, that's the only thing it seemed like. It looked like the way a copying machine works. The way the light goes. And it, you know, that's nothing else I could think of. And like I said, these crystal jagged edges, they didn't even hurt. So they're telling me that this is, they're raising the light quanta of my DNA. And they call it a DNA reconfiguration. And they said they're doing that because I don't believe in myself and I was not doing what I was supposed to do. I think that involves relaying some of this. Okay, so that's what this actually was procedural wise. About this room, okay, this room wasn't too big, but she did a very good job of representing some things that were in there. One is we've got these 2 black boxes are in there, okay? I'm pretty sure they weren't to trap souls, but nonetheless there are 2 black boxes in there. There was another one that looked like, to me it looked like almost like a radar type of monitor or something, okay? And behind was this panel with 3 buttons on there. Almost looked like the game Simon Says. You remember those panels on there? It looked kind of like that. Alright, something that Christine Casara put in there were these devices. And I had a hard time describing them, but she seemed to be able to get them, alright? There was a screen there she put on there, and I didn't remember seeing those, but she said that she was supposed to put those in there. In this room was also this metal thing coming down on the wall. It was more over here actually, but to me it kind of looked like a street lamp, but it wasn't shaped quite right. Okay, anyway, so that's kind of the device, the things in there. That's the BIOBED itself for the DNA reconfiguration, all right? And I just described the beings to you. The one I want to just hit on again is the Andromedan Council members, the little blue guys. Look, this bed was probably not even 3 feet off the ground, and these guys were barely 2 feet tall. I mean, they were no bigger than the bed, maybe 2.5 feet this was. This was very, very little. They were little. So little that if I would have pushed one of them, they would have probably all flew through the wall. I mean, but they were in no way harming me. They weren't forcing me down there. They weren't strapping me on this bed or anything like that. And there's nothing but I was getting loving feeling coming. Something else I want to say about these little blue guys especially. They, to me, did not feel like bio-androids. They felt alive. I felt energy coming off of them, a love vibration, and a very peaceful thing. And they didn't quite move around and communicate with me like they were just worker bees only. So I think that they were not just some clone beings. I think they were alive, a species, just like this guy, and just like Mana, who's amphibious. And Mana's part of an alliance we'll talk about later, which means these Andromedan Council members are part of this alliance also. So anyway, that's this picture. About as much of it as I can describe. It's very accurate. Kasara, much props to her. She's very patient with me on this because it's hard to describe and put it in place what I saw. But she got it. So that's the BIOBED that was on board this craft. Thank you very much. Quick wrap up, alright? I just want to say, first of all, there was a physical experience, but there was missing time. Hypnosis helped with this to recall what I can only see in flashes otherwise. Something else, that room, the BIOBED room, did not feel like a laboratory. To me, it really felt like a weather station, somewhere that a meteorologist would be working. So that's just something I want to go over with these, and that was one of the few times I was actually given a name of the beings I was interacting with. Okay, so I just want to go over those couple of things, show you that. Thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe to the channel if you like the work that's being put out here. All right. I appreciate everybody who's watching. There's a lot of people watching. I wish more would subscribe, so please do that. Want to give a shout out to Christine Dennett for the artwork she did for me once again. Thank you very much. Peace.